I did have one friend that would always be like, "That's there you go on that light skin shit." It's never like, you know, blatant of like, "Oh, you light skin, so I'm gonna put you in this category." But it'll be like comments of like, I'll say something like, "Oh, that's some light skin shit." Like,
no, I stuck up for you. And I remember we was having dinner, and somebody was like, "Yeah, here you go on that light skin shit." They just kept calling her light skin, and I said to them, "I said, y'all better stop calling her light skin, because as soon as she turn around and say y'all dark skin, y'all gonna have a problem, and y'all gonna want to fight her."
That's it, that's all. That's it, that's all. Tell me how you feel. That's it, that's all. That's it, that's all. Black excellence at its finest. How that skin glows, she's a true diamond. With the world at her back, she's still smiling. Never let that crown till she stays thriving. That's it, that's all. That's it, that's all. Keep it real. That's it, that's all. That's it, that's all. Is that really it though?
What up, y'all? My name is Casey Carnage, and this is That's It, That's All, where the girls can gather around through shared experiences and just have a shared key. Today, we got some of my girls on the thing. I know y'all know Elanisha already. She's like almost like resident co-host, but like not really. But she here. This is AKA Ellen, AKA Elanisha, AKA Light Bright, AKA Zaddy. We got a newcomer on the show. We got a Beam, AKA Chocolate Goddess, AKA Africana Americana Mama. And today we're going to talk about something that, you know, plagues us, I think, between our community and through Black women. We're talking about colorism. And, you know, I had to bring my chocolate sister on. You know, I'm going to be a caramel sister. We got that light-skinned sister, because I think that at the end of the day, we all have commonalities, but I think through post-traumatic or systematic oppression that is literally still to this day, I see it, that we still go through. So we're going to talk about that today. But before we do, I like to, you know, like for those who do not know what it is, I'm going to read the definition of it. And I didn't memorize it. So I'm just going to start. So colorism is a prejudice or discrimination against individuals with a dark skin tone, typically among people of the same ethnic or racial group. Colorism within the Black community has been a serious emotional and psychological battle. So we're going to talk about that. All right. And I want to know, do you guys have any specific memories of feeling like you were overlooked because of your color? And I know this is, you know, like we got both ends of the spectrum here. That's why this is an important episode.
I'm a little perturbed by the definition, because it said it to darker colored skin people. And it's like, that's not the only way that colorism shows up, especially in the Black community. But I think for me, it was transitioning from going to like a predominantly white middle school and then going into high school, and it was predominantly Black. So the Black girls were like, "Oh, you act like a white girl. You not really Black." And I'm like, "What you mean though? Like, I'm brown. What you talking about?" So I think that really threw me off and made me feel like I had to like prove my Blackness, like I was still trying to have.
Because you're a lighter skin woman.
Yeah, because I'm light skinned, and they were like, "Your daddy white, your mama white," and I'm like, "No, they both brown. Like we just all brown. Like I'm high yellow brown, and then I got a little, you know, my mom's like a little bit lighter than you, so, and my grandmother is a little bit lighter than you, so we were all, you know, mixed up. But I think just looking at me, they assumed that I was just, you know, faking.
So you think that the definition is false?
I don't like it. It's just being anti whatever your skin tone is. If you think that people like, I think black people are beautiful, like dark,
because
Black,
we come through all the spectrums,
almost blurple. I love it.
So Abim, I mean, what about you?
A specific memory? I don't think I have one. I think that could be due to my upbringing, which I did go to school with predominantly white folks, basically all the white folks. I actually went to school with more mixed folks than Black folks at my school. So essentially with white people, it's just, I feel like it's just light. It's just black and white. You know what I mean? Like everyone's dark skinned to them. Essentially that's what it is for me. Like everyone's light skinned to me. So it's very subjective, I feel. So essentially I didn't feel it when it came to the white folks, but when I started going to college, you know, even in high school when I was, you know, hanging out with more of the Black high schools, the people at the Black high schools, you know, that's when, you know, I definitely felt like they were the ones that were like, okay, no, you're a certain level of Black. Like you're black.
Yeah,
and I was just like, okay, if that's how it is, that's what you say. You know what I mean? Apart from, you know, growing up a white kids. I grew up with a lot of Nigerians. I am Nigerian American, first generation, so big Nigerian community and just African community where I'm from in upstate New York. So they didn't make me feel no type of way because, you know, we're all the same. We're Africans. So yeah, I can't say I had a specific memory where I felt.
So let me ask you this, like, and I saw on another podcast where they had Black Americans versus Africans, right? And they were saying how, like, you know, the two different. So I guess my question would be to you, like, what was that dynamic between being African, first generation African, with Black Americans? Because that's still kind of we're still toting on that same line.
For sure. Yeah, definitely. I think what a lot of African Americans are acknowledging these days is that, you know, back then it wasn't cool to be African. It wasn't cool to know that you yourself was from Africa. If you were Black American, you weren't doing your DNA test back then. You weren't interested in going to Africa. You know, people were more so made fun of or, you know, seen as, again, a different type of Black, as Black people that were defining us versus like the white people were just like, you just Black, you just African. You know what I mean? So it's interesting to see the change, of course. You know, we want to thank Beyonce for going to Africa. Not everybody want to go to Africa. It's cool.
Bring it back, B. Bring it back, B.
You know, once Beyonce does it, now we all could do it. But like, you know, and I appreciate Afrobeats coming to America. You know, I love it all. I love to see it. But I do understand sometimes maybe, I don't know if it's animosity or like people that
so
kind of
feel. So what do you think
like,
that the flip side of that is? Because I do also hear that Black Americans get the same type of pushback from Africa. Like, oh, you're not really African.
Oh, for sure.
You're not really African. You're not from there. So
that's
like,
the animosity, and I think the trauma from you was making fun of me 10 years ago. Now you over here trying to get on the same plane.
Calling me all kind of shit.
Location,
right.
Without any type of apology. I don't know what's needed, an apology, you know, an acknowledgement. I don't know what would be needed from the community.
From my own perspective of, you know, hanging around like people that are first generation, you know, their parents are from, you know, Nigeria or Senegal or somewhere in Africa, and they're coming to the United States. The people that are coming, the people that have the money, regardless of where they're from, to come to the United States are pretty well off.
Right.
Like maybe not upper middle class is what we would define it as, but they have enough money to move their entire family to another country.
Right.
So we're looking, from what I've seen of other people, from Black people that live here, they're like, we're looking at these African people like they're bougie. They're like affluent Black people. You know what I mean? Like you can do this because you got bread. You know what I mean?
And everybody's a doctor.
And I think that's where the animosity from African Americans comes from.
But I think
to
also,
Africans, you know
I think it's
like,
also
dang.
too. I also think it's the displacement of culture too. Like it's like, you know, like Africans know their culture. They know they from Nigeria. They know they from Senegal. They know they from the Ivory Coast.
Right.
Black people don't, like Black Americans don't really know what's rooted. So like I think we did an episode about like traditions and stuff like that. And I was telling them that like for me, one of the things that, you know, always shook at me is like I didn't believe that I had an actual tradition as somebody that was Jewish or somebody that was African or somebody that was Hispanic. Like there are names for these specific holidays and these specific traditions, and so I think that animosity between like, you know, Black Americans and maybe Africans, they it's because like we are displaced. Like we don't really know our heritage. Where y'all come in as proud. I'm proud. I know where I am. I'm rooted in this. I does this. I speak 8 languages.
Exactly.
What's up? You know what I mean?
And there's not a lot of
that.
transgenerational trauma either. You know, like they have the knowing of their cultural, and they don't have to think about, oh, well, I can go back. My great grandfather was doing something, whether sharecropping or slavery, you know, during that time. So it's like they don't have that. They have, my great grandfather was the chief of the ethnic community that we from, and we just, you know, or my great grandma was a midwife, you know, in the community. So those are things that like we don't have that. So I think that that's right, like with the displacement aspect, for sure.
Yeah, I think also though part of it is maybe we can come across bougie, you know, maybe, I don't know.
That's why I say affluent, you know.
It's more so about, like, I think our morals and, like, our traditions, like you mentioned, like, they're like, you know, they're your base. You got to just
Right,
know
we
what
can't
you
help
I'm
want.
trying to say
Right.
affluent and not like, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
like
it
it
is
is,
important to know that, you know, I think people do. I do think people do need to go to Africa. You need to go see it for yourself, because it isn't what you see over here. You know, that's just the very few that was able to get themselves over here. It's rough. The ghettos are beyond the ghettos. You know what I mean? So it is very important to know that there is trauma over there for sure. A trauma to even just leaving that lifestyle to come over here to like acclimate to this lifestyle and all the different things that come with it. You know, it's different.
Okay,
but
well,
I think
I ask you. So my next question would be, how do you feel, or how you identify it when you see it happening amongst friendships? I'll see it not necessarily in my tight knit friend groups, more so when I was younger, like high school, middle school.
I did have one friend that would always be like, "That's there you go on that light skin shit." It's never like, you know, blatant of like, "Oh, you light skin, so I'm gonna put you in this category." But it'll be like comments of like, I'll say something like, "Oh, that's some light skin shit." Like, you know,
No, it's
like,
so funny that you say that, because I remember we had in our and I stuck up for you. I was like, we're like Ellen is like, and you know, like we're really good friends, and she's in our group, and we're all like darker skinned women. Ellen's the lighter skinned one, and I remember we was having dinner, and somebody was like, "Yeah, here you go on that light skin shit." They just kept calling her light skin, and I said to them, "I said, y'all better stop calling her light skin, because as soon as she turned around and say y'all dark skin, y'all gonna have a problem, and y'all gonna want to fight her. So just stop, just stop, because it's not. It's like it's funny, but it's like, you know, like it's almost like one of those things that I think that, like, you know, dark skinned women use as a punch to lighter skin.
it's like a
women
low blow,
sometimes.
and it's like, okay, and
Because I mean, I think it's a protective thing, though. I think it's not even our fault that we're doing it. It's like you like lighter skinned women have always been put on such a high pedestal that if we can dig at you to bring it down a little bit, they're going to do it, and not out of love, or not even to try to bring you down. I just think that's the mindset that we have been programmed with. That if we had the opportunity, oh, you did this, that's some light skin shit. You know what I mean? Like whatever.
I've never participated in those activities, and I don't have friends that really participate in those activities.
that's good.
Again, for me, I think, like, if you dark skinned, what am I? Charcoal? You know what I mean? It's like everybody lighter than me. And so, fortunately enough, like, I've never really seen, or I guess noticed, how dark skinned I am until, again, people point it out. And for the most part, if a friend or, you know, even an acquaintance, somebody that's, you know, trying to come at me, they would, you know, they'd maybe call me chocolate. But I
now
think,
I look at you, you're really not that dark. Like, when I look at you, like, when I think of like dark skin, I think of like less brown tone and more like that, like deep blue, and you don't have that at all. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean,
let's get,
I mean,
Black is
brown.
beautiful.
You
and
brown,
honestly,
like you dark brown.
I mean,
Like,
that's why I'm just like, but when you said, like, you know, in terms of being overlooked by men, like, luckily, I mean, I think it's definitely blatantly has always happened for me, but not enough for me to, like, I guess, recognize enough or even to, like, care, if that makes sense. But I would say, you know, my list is probably much shorter because, again, if we both dark skin, but, like, you know, and someone's looking for someone.
Do you have many light skinned friends? Are the majority of your friends
No,
your
they're
skin
lighter
tone?
than me. No, they're all lighter than me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, 'cause I feel
For
the
the most
opposite.
part.
Like, I feel like because I do hang around with predominantly, you know, brown or darker. I mean, if I'm categorizing light skin, medium brown, dark skin, and then black, you know what I'm saying? Like, majority of my friends are medium brown and on. And I think when we go out, the men that are attracted to y'all that I would find attractive, or the people that are attracted to my friends that I would find attractive, do not look my way at all.
I don't
They
know.
don't want a light skinned girl.
Well, I mean, you want
This
what you
day and
want.
age.
You know what I'm saying?
I feel
They
like
don't
there's been
necessarily
a
want
change
that.
also with
Yeah,
that.
for
Right.
sure.
Like,
But it
there's a new
depends. I feel like that it
trend for
depends
that.
on the region, right?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, yeah, that may be true when we go on the East Coast and the South.
That's how I
Yeah,
felt
But
when
when
we
we're
were
Texas.
here,
East Coast,
exactly.
yeah.
But when we're
Yeah.
here, we feel how you felt.
Really?
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. We'll be able to say, like, we've been out, and, like, you know, you have, like, you know, I mean, you know, our friends. I don't need to say them on, you know, whatever. But, like, yeah, they'll go here for. I think that is a regional thing. That's what I
It
think
could
it
be
is because it's some, like, you can go, like, on the East Coast, baby. I had no problem.
Where I'm coming from, though, it was like the land of the mix. Like, I'm used to seeing black men choose white women. Like, again, growing up, I went to school with more mixed kids than like actual black kids. So that part wasn't too I guess, weird to me when I got here to LA just about like a year ago or whatever. But I don't know if I'm finding it that, you know, it is difficult, but I'm hearing that it is difficult, if that makes sense.
No, I
don't
get
know.
it. I mean, I grew up in a very mixed community as well too, so I've seen it, like the difference or whatever. But like, I think what happens is that the media definitely plays in the psyche. Like, on top of our systematic trauma, we have the media traumatizing us, telling us what's beautiful, what's not beautiful, whether you need to straighten your hair, whether you need to like be lighter. You have people lightening their skin, like, and it's toxic because it's what is being portrayed out to us, right? And it's 2023, so I don't understand what the problem is. I'm so glad that it's been like, you know, in the last 5 to 7 years, people have really been embracing the natural hair that grows out their head. Like, it's like, what do you want me to do?
A couple girls gonna get a check because of these lawsuits and
I
stuff
seen
with
that.
the
The
perms.
perms,
You
I
know,
seen that.
I stopped a long time ago, but for my
You
friends who
permed
have
your
it, I used to.
Why?
Girl, you don't understand.
Your texture is not
My
permeable.
mother got to a point where she was like, "I'm tired of doing your hair. Either you gonna let me put a relaxer in it and learn how to do it, like roller set it yourself and do all that, or you cutting it all off." And I was like, "All right, we're gonna go to that first one."
Well, I guess I'm gonna pose my next question. Do you think that it has affected you in dating? Meaning, is there somebody that you wanted, or just in dating in general? Like, has there been comments said to you? Because, like, on the flip side of that, there's, you know,
Fetishes.
fetishism happens as well. I mean, I want you to call it fetishism, whatever it is. That happens too, because I've been on dates, and like, whether it's been a lighter skinned man or a white man or a black man, and they'll say something like, "Oh yeah, you like this white dick, or you like this Spanish dick, or you like this," like, just like whatever. And I feel like that to me is a thin line between, like, I don't even know what to call it. I don't know if that's a colorism thing or if it's a fetish thing, but
I
it
think they
blends
think
into
that-
colorism.
Yeah, I think that most men, regardless of race, they view black women, especially dark-skinned black women, as exotic. So you see an Asian man with a black woman, 9 times out of 10, he's with a dark-skinned black woman. You see white man, 9 times out of 10, they're with somebody who's maybe your complexion or a little bit darker. And I think that comes from the idea that, like, you know, black women are exotic, they are to be conquered, like that type of energy, especially when it comes from, like, we're at the bottom of the totem pole when we think about, like, women and then how people view different types of women.
We at the top of the totem pole.
You think so?
I think so.
But so you think how would you rate it if we thinking about from the perspective of
Fuck the perspective.
like but that's what we
Fuck
talking
the
about. We talking about
perspective.
colorism, so we
not
gotta look
saying
at it like
black
that.
women are number one. I don't care what y'all say.
I mean,
Quote me
you
on
get
it,
what
mad
I
at
mean,
me.
but-
Comment at the bottom if you got something to say. But go ahead, continue.
But no, but do you understand what I'm saying?
No, I get what you're saying.
You
I
get what
just
I
wanna see
mean.
what
So
you're
I think
saying.
that that's why it's like that. And I think that when we sit back and we look at ourselves, we might internalize a little bit of that. And it might be like, well, you know, I'm gonna be attracted to what looks exotic to me. And from my perspective, what looks exotic to me is a dark-skinned black man. And I have only dated one dark-skinned black man, and he was Nigerian, and I felt like I had to prove that I could be with a Nigerian man because I'm light-skinned, mixed, and American. And it was really difficult because he was like quizzing me on all the things that he thought that a black woman or a woman in general, especially a Nigerian woman, maybe that was his comparison. I don't know what that means because I'm not, but you might be able to, you know, attest to, like, he was asking me like, oh, well, you know, do you want to, you know, do you know how to cook? And do you do this? Like, how do you, like, that type of stuff, like very traditional. And it was
traditional, yeah.
difficult for me because I'm totally, I know how to be domesticated, but at the same time, it's like, I don't want that to be necessarily something that I put on my resume.
Right,
when
the
I'm
criteria
looking,
to have to
for sure.
get you.
Yeah.
Like,
What about
whereby-
you?
I mean, okay, so in terms of like the other racist thing, I do find that white men, they do find us exotic, but then I also see it more as like a slave master thing. I don't know why. I just feel like because you're not about to have me. You know, that's where I feel like that energy kind of sometimes comes from, and I'm not the one. So it's just you know,
Wow.
you gotta like, yeah. I don't
No,
know.
I feel you, but I'm
I feel
thinking
you.
about the times that I've been in situations with white
I
people.
mean,
It just.
I mean, the ones that I have, the ones that I had, I didn't get that energy, but I understand the energy because there has ones that have tried me, and I'm just kind of like, no, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, still know your place because I do believe that, like, you know, there's beautiful people everywhere, but like, white. No offense, y'all. I know y'all gonna comment, but like, no offense, but white people always do some white people shit. I'm not.
See, that's the same shit when I'm like light skin
not
shit. Like, what is it?
even-
What is
I don't
it?
know what it is.
What is
I don't
it?
know what it is because I am a Montclair kid, a suburb kid. Some of my best friends are white. Some of my best friends are Indians. Like I literally, but I mean, at the end of the day, you who you are. I'm sure that you know, like we could say shit about us. Like y'all always end up doing some white shit. Like, and I'm trying to figure it out because sometimes I can't figure it out.
So give me like a scenario because the one time that I was with a white man and I mean a white woman and white man, it's always been the conversation around like race has always been a very big issue with them. And I think, do you think that comes from us or you think that comes from them? Because
Go ahead. You was gonna
No,
say?
I was gonna say when you say it's an issue for them in terms
it's always
of,
a topic of conversation. You know how like if
Okay.
you with a black man or you with a black woman, it's not weird because y'all both black. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about what blackness is or why I want to roll my hair up or why I want to wear a scarf to bed or
Right.
why I need to, you know, I don't know, not put my purse on the ground, whatever it is. Like it's stuff like that I think is always a topic of conversation.
Yeah,
No, go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
this is my view on it, and I'm going back to what I just said to what you just said. Just like we have been through systematic trauma, I'm not saying they've been through systematic trauma, but they have been taught and learnt on some other shit too. So the ones that are truly trying to break it down and really understand, I think the fear comes from them not wanting to say the wrong thing, like the real ones, because there are some real ones out there. I can't even. There's no cap. There are some real ones out there, and I think their fear is they don't want to do or say the right thing, and then also too asking the question you don't know unless you ask the question. So if they've never been around something that has intrigued them or actually been immersed in the culture, they're not going to get to where we need them to be or want them without asking the question. So for us, it's like, damn, why you keep asking these questions?
We gotta be
But
like
for
the
them,
token
it's
for black
like,
people.
and depending on
Yeah.
where their heart is, like, you know what I mean? There's some people that are assholes, and that's for you to decipher which one they are. But like, if they've never been around it and it's something that they're seeking, like any knowledge, they gotta go to the source.
For sure.
They gotta go to the source. So it just depends
gotta see
on
if
how
you
they
wanna sign
say,
up for
right?
it.
Yeah.
Like that's if you want to sign up for it. That's if you want to sign up for
Yeah, I
it.
mean, like the first 2 years of my last long-term relationship, it was helping this person confront the fact that like they grew up in a racist household, and I couldn't do nothing about it. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like it was just like you really did that, and they was really
Yeah.
okay with it. They
Yeah.
really said that, and you didn't say I got black friends.
They
You
had
know,
no-
like you know. So yeah,
The one thing I do want to say also about the dating, because now I think about it, like maybe it is like myself that just like, I don't know, train my brain to just like not have high expectations, not have high hopes, or just like, you know,
Numb to it.
What comes to
Yeah.
numb to it. What comes to me will come to me. But I remember I had a conversation with someone so many years ago that it stuck with me to date, and I'm still trying to figure out the puzzle. But they said, name one celebrity couple where the woman is darker than the man. Like one successful celebrity couple. It took us forever. The only person we could come up with was Oprah and Stedman, and that man is not a celebrity.
Let me
Okay.
see. Let me see if we can think
You
about
know,
it.
and I was just like, well, damn, the representation, like you said, it's like, and then when you said what you said about how, you know, your family.
You
know,
said
it's been like
the
that too.
woman is darker than the man.
Yeah. And they're both on like the same successful celebrity status.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
There
I
is
don't
one.
know.
Because
Maybe Angela Bassett and her husband. They about
Well,
the
you
same?
know who he is.
Courtney. She and
Oh,
everything.
yeah, actor. No, but
Yeah.
they're both the same.
Right. So you mean like the
Like a drastic change. Like, I mean, like Oprah and Stedman.
Right.
No, it's
No,
always
I
a
can't
dark
think
skinned
about it.
man and a light skinned
I'm
woman.
looking it up, but continue the
Girl,
conversation.
when I say I've had this
I'm looking
thing
it up.
for like, this has been a puzzle for me for like over a decade. I've been trying to figure out, but I think it just goes to show like,
dark skin.
You know, maybe my brain's just like trained along those lines of like, you know. it's
I
not
don't
really
know.
supposed to
I
be,
you
you know,
that's
it is
that's
what
a
it is.
fair thought. We're gonna get to that. So my next question would be, have you ever wanted to be lighter or darker than you are? Like, has that ever come across, and when was that? Like, how did that affect you? Like, what was your thought process on that?
Yeah, I think growing up, I don't know. I don't know. It's like, I don't know if I actually said I wanted to be lighter, but I think there was a point in time when I was like online when, you know, AIM was there and like we was in the chats and everything. And, you know, I did used to pretend to be somebody else.
Yeah,
like
we
using
all
different
catfished.
pictures.
We
Okay,
all
period.
catfished.
And I used to pretend to
That was original catfish.
and my go-to was always this like light-skinned Puerto Rican girl named Ashley.
So you was Ashley.
But she was Puerto Rican, so I don't know what I was saying. I don't know what I was trying to do. I'm sorry, why is it Puerto Rican?
That's my
I don't
middle name,
know.
and I'm like,
Oh, is it?
I was like, wait.
I think I'm trying to be you, honestly. No, but I think that, yeah, like subconsciously that was maybe me wanting to maybe be somebody else. But like in terms of when you were mentioning like bleaching, like that's very big in like the Nigerian African community. I never wanted to do things like that.
Like, how did they even, like, I always wanted to ask that. Like, I mean, I'm sure you don't know the history of your whole nation,
Yeah,
but
no,
like, how do you, like, I'm sure, like, growing up in that and seeing that, like, how did that even, like, come about? Like, what, people just like, I'm going to do this one day and it just happened?
I think just trying to be European standards, features, the same thing
Or
we're
look
doing
more
over
like
here.
North African.
But is that what's projected in Nigeria? Like, is that in the media as well as it is here?
I would say so, yeah. I mean, it's in the media. You know, everyone wants to have their body right, hair right, still over there too as well. And I think, yeah, maybe it's also just even like global celebrities. Again, like just the lack of representation. Maybe that's why people thought they had to lighten their skin. But it's interesting to see it in like just like soaps.
But it's also so pasty. When I
It's
see
so
it, it's
weird.
never
It
like
doesn't look good.
It's
It
never
never looks
like
good.
it's never
And it
like.
only be right here. It be from like the chin up
don't
and the
look
hands.
good.
And I'm like,
But it's
wait.
never like a good skin tone. It's like literally like it's bleach. Like you
Yeah.
jumped in some bleach. But then also like your skin never quite gets moisturized again.
Right.
I don't
yeah.
recommend it, y'all. Stop doing it.
It's weird.
It's not worth
It's
it.
weird.
Because them side effects down the line, you don't want them. How about you, Ellen?
I always used to want to be darker. Always. And I don't think I realized that I was as light as I was until I started school. Because like I said, like I grew up with my grandma like in the daycare, and she was, you know, dark skinned. My grandfather was dark skinned. Like my mom's a little bit lighter than you. My dad was the only person who was like considered like high yellow. But realistically speaking, I didn't realize that I was as light as I was. So growing up, we go to the beach, and I'm like, oh, you know, my grandma's name, I just call her Nene. I'm like, Nene, I'm almost as dark as you. You know, I was always striving to be like her complexion. So I think that it's always been something that I wanted. And people be like, oh, you know, you gonna marry yourself a light skinned man so you can have light skinned babies? Like, no, I want to marry a dark black man so that my babies can be brown. Because I'm not. I mean, you know, that one little drop of whiteness is going.
Why did you feel like you wanted to be darker? Is it because like that's just what you saw in your family, or
I
is
thought
it
it
like
was beautiful. I thought it was natural. I thought it was like what real black people were.
So that's a very interesting take on it, because you felt like on the end you didn't feel like you fit in.
I didn't. Yeah, when I was in high school, it was, you are trying to be black. And I'm like, no, but I am. Like, what do you mean? Like, I can't wash this off just like you can't wash yours off. So I think that was the part that I struggled with, because most of my friends were darker than me, and it was just a constant thing of like, oh, light bright, light skin, herd, all of that. So it was rough.
But like, have you ever dated? Like, you've been on a date and you listen to, because you listen to people's words. Have you ever felt any type of way about their preferences and how they look? Like anything they said gave you a side eye?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like men love to tell me that they prefer dark-skinned women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's been their thing for their whole life. And I don't know if it's because it's like a newer wave to be into dark-skinned women, that they're like, oh, I've always loved chocolate women, or like I only date chocolate women. I've always only.
Do you think that's
dated.
patronizing though? Do you think that is like, because like my friend used to say to me, like she was like, I hate when they queen me to death. Like, hey queen, hey queen, hey queen. So when you out, like them saying, oh, I love dark skinned women, I love dark skinned women. Like, how do you take that? Like, do you take it as like it's a compliment or the repetitiveness?
Maybe it's like reassurance.
I
though.
kind of take it as a compliment.
Okay.
I think I know people that don't. Or I've heard that, maybe I saw it like on a TikTok or something, that like people don't take it as that. They take it as, people, colorism. They take it as them, letting you know that like, I only date black women because white women and whatever issues you have with other women. But yeah, I kind of do take it as a compliment. I mean, I don't need to hear it. So, but it is
But when you
interesting
take
how I find that like a lot of men are just like, I've always liked chocolate women. Like, I'm just like, oh, okay, that's cool. I've always liked chocolate too. Like,
I always like chocolate too. Hey, chocolate, we can be chocolate together. How about you, Ellen?
I used to, like I told y'all, I used to like perm my hair. I used to get relaxers and stuff. So when I started my natural hair journey, people were like, oh, you gon' press your hair, you gonna flat iron your hair, and I'll be like, no, I'm gonna let it grow out. I'm gonna wear my my curls natural. And they're like, oh. You look more Hispanic with your hair straight, or you look more like you not really black, like from America. And I was like, okay, that's
No, but
cool.
what I'm asking you is that when you have been dating, like say for instance you on a date and you interviewing this person, have you ever heard them come out? Because that there's things that people say that they don't know that you caught, right? Like, has there anything that you can think that stood out that somebody has said that made you sigh?
I don't think I catch it until I change my look up. So I don't normally do that.
Okay, I was gonna say that too,
Yeah.
because I remember a guy got upset, like not upset, but like really tried to like lecture me because he couldn't run his fingers through my hair. And he was like, well, I need to make sure. He literally said, he's like, well, the girls I'd like to date, they have a certain type of hair texture because I know what I want my kids' texture to be.
Okay, yeah, no.
why
ain't
are
nobody
men
ever said
worried
to
about that
me.
type of stuff more than women? Like, who's worried about that? Oh my God.
And I was just like, and I had to tell him, I said, you don't gotta touch my hair. Just know that my hair is thick and healthy. That's all you need to know.
That's it.
That's all you need to know. That's all you need to know. And so I want to wrap this up by saying, I want to leave a message. I like to leave messages. What would you say to any girl that may be struggling with their skin tone? And what would you leave them with?
What would I say? I mean, love yourself as much as possible. It's easier said than done, for sure. Surround yourself with people that, support you, uplift you, don't bring you down or, make you feel any type of way about your skin tone. I think that's probably why I was so successful with my skin tone. I don't know. I think people really think I should be like in a corner and like sad about how dark I am sometimes. But I think based on how others treated me and how I perceived it, I've been fine. So I would just say continue to love yourself, surround yourself with good people, and know that you're beautiful no matter what.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah,
Trends.
yeah.
Forget trends.
Right, forget the trends.
They're temporary. So
Yeah. I would say to the little light-skinned girls, to all the little light-skinned girls, no, really. I would say that, regardless of whether you're mixed, white and black, or, black and Native American, or you're Afro-Latin, whatever it is, like the fact that you have curly hair and brown skin, that still makes you a black woman. So don't think that you have to prove anything else. Like, don't pretend to be little ratchet Elanisha, because that's where Elanisha came from. That was, Elanisha in high school, Ratchet Sally. Like, you don't have to do that. Like, you can just be yourself. You can be smart. You can be everything that you want to be, and you don't have to prove and fulfill anybody's stereotype of blackness.
I would say to the little girls around the world, and even some of the adults.
I'm mad. You got real low. Like, you like Mr. Rogers.
I would say that at the end of the day, I love being a black woman. And one of the main reasons why I love being a black woman is because we like Baskin Robbins. We got them 32 flavors. Okay. So if you are not feeling like you love yourself, like there's somebody that will love you and you're going to love you. And look around. Like, the beauty is that we are a variety. All right. So even if you don't look like the next person, they don't look like you either. Be
right.
you, be loved. Receive love and accept it, because at the end of the day, that's the only body you got. I mean, you can snip and do whatever you want to do it, but at the end of the day, it's still your body, and you have to love yourself so you can groove through this thing we call life.
Yeah, and people pay millions of dollars to look like us.
Too bad, but I just want to thank you guys for coming on, Evelyn and Abeem. And like I said, anything that we talk about, y'all, join the conversation. Please comment, please like, share, subscribe, do all the things you do when you want to find out the information that you want to find out. And my name is Casey Carnage, and that's it. That's all. That's It, That's All is written by me, Casey Carnage, and produced by myself and Rick Barrio Dill. Executive producer is Duff Ferguson. Our senior producer is Sabrina Seward. Associate producer, Bree Corey. Audio and video engineering and studio facilities provided by Slap Studios LA, with distribution through our collective for social progress and cultural expression, Slap the Network. If you have any ideas for a show you want to hear or see, please email us at info@slapthepower.com. And as always, go to that'sitthat'sall.com and sign up there to make sure you will never miss a thing. See you next show.